I can do. Three and 3 has never felt or looked so good. I was gonna say 500 football has never felt or looked so good, but I think I might have said that after the Chiefs beat the Ravens. So, I'm careful with the reruns, but I don't think, fingers crossed, knock on wood, I don't think we're gonna have to talk about the Chiefs surviving their way to 500 football again this season. Why do I think that? Great question. We're going to talk about that right here on today's edition of Everything Else. Happy Monday. Happy Victory Monday, Chiefs Kingdom. This feels a whole lot better than we all felt on Tuesday last week after the Chiefs fell to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And frankly, I think this is as good of a sign as you can ask for a 500 football team that had a very specific cutoff line before you knew they'd be re-adding their number one option on offense. Chiefs 30, Lions 17, plenty to celebrate here, plenty to build on here, plenty of players to highlight, plenty of schematic, fundamental, and execution things that feel like such a far cry from where this team has been at its lows. And really, I think in a lot of ways, just juxtaposing the win over the Lions with the loss to the Jags, two big cat teams that ended in very different circumstances, I think that's a pretty good way of looking at who the Chiefs have been through these last 2 weeks and what changed against Detroit. 13 accepted penalties against the Jags, goose egg. 0 against the Lions. Chris Jones jumped at the end and Not quite garbage time, but just trying to get to the end of the game. They didn't accept it because the Lions had a completion anyway. So it goes on the stat sheet as a 0 in terms of penalties allowed. Or penalties done. Penalty-able things? Is that a word? No, definitely not. Penalized 0 times against Detroit. Where did it feel like the Jags game got away from the Chiefs? Or at least, where did they have an opportunity to put their foot on the neck of the Jaguars? They had a chance to double dip around halftime. They did not do that, and they didn't do it in remarkable fashion. The Lions start this game. They win the coin toss. They take the football. That's fine. I don't think that's like disrespectful at this point. I understand why Andy Reid is a defer coach, because you want to get the ball to start the second half. But the reason you want to get the ball to start the second half is so you have an opportunity to steal a possession in the way things go back and forth there. Well, deferring and getting the ball to start the second half doesn't move the needle much for me if you're going to go 3 and out. Instead, last night at Arrowhead, primetime, Sunday Night Football, that was the Chiefs' offense you've been waiting for. And in another more important way, that is still not the Chiefs' offense that you've been waiting for. That's where this gets straight up nasty. And we'll talk about that more as the show goes on, that Rashee Rice is eligible to be back and practicing with the team right now. That's big, obviously. That's enormous news for the offense, for every element of this team. I don't want to spend a huge chunk of today's show on Rashee Rice, because I think that's going to be a huge chunk of Friday's show, and then a huge chunk of the rest of the season. What the Chiefs did against the Lions, without Rashee Rice out there, knowing that he would be back next week, is pretty remarkable. I think this weekend of NFL action further solidified something I've been talking about here for a couple of weeks now. That I think in the modern NFL, you've just got kind of a muck of teams that are all throw them in a neutral site, make them play on a Thursday. The best team in football and the second worst team in football. It's some variation of a coin flip. Maybe it's a dice roll. Maybe you got to get a 1 on a 6-sided die for the lesser team to pull off the majestic upset over the Bills or whoever you want to put at the top, right? But it's always reasonable odds that something crazy is going to happen. Unless you're the New York Jets, in which case, keep your expectations low. I cannot stress this enough to you. I had my Sunday morning ruined by forcing myself to be a New York Jets fan for one game. It won't happen again. I can't let it happen again. They should have beaten the Denver Broncos in London. It would have been a great little gift for the Chiefs in the AFC West. And instead, the Jets lost 10 yards when they passed the football. They took 10 more yards in sack yardage lost than they had passing yards. I could not have been more filled with rage following that football game yesterday morning. So I really do think there are 31 teams in that category of just bleep around and find out. Maybe it'll be Joe Flacco now with the Bengals. Maybe it was Joe Flacco with the Browns. We talked about this last week. That's all still very, very true. That's still very, very real to me. When January comes around, that list will be shrunk down, obviously, but I don't know how much. I don't know if you're going to tell me that we fast forward to January and the Colts beat the Bills in the playoffs. I don't think I can be completely shocked by that, because that's been football this year, and it's football a lot of the time. But man, it's really been true this year. The Chiefs will have to do a few more things to get to a point where they are viewed as being above the mire, and I don't know that that's ever going to happen. I don't need it to, frankly. What I need the Chiefs to do, what we all want the Chiefs to do, is to be one of the teams at the top of that pile. And what you saw last night is how they do it. You saw them take advantage of an opportunity to nail the double dip. You saw them not shoot themselves in the foot in all 3 phases, although Harrison Butker might have nicked a toe again. I guess take your one mistake early. I don't know. Whatever. Outside of that, though, I think there are a couple of drops. There's no back-breaking penalties. No scores erased. which the Lions, of course, did have, like the Goff illegal motion thing. I don't know if that was a design or a design flaw or an execution flaw, but that cost them 4 points. The Chiefs didn't have those mistakes. What they did have was Patrick Mahomes, a pretty good wide receiver depth chart, not their best, not the best in football, but a pretty good wide receiver depth chart, and a very solid defensive effort that looked like at the beginning it was not going to solidify in time. I, just a little bit before we started this show, finished listening to the KCSN postgame show, because that's in the podcast feed now. You can also watch it on YouTube if you'd like. I like the idea that Kent and Maddie and Tucker were talking about in terms of it being offense-led complementary football. I think that's right. I think the pass rush is still pretty spooky here in spooky season. I am a little bit worried about how they're going to continue to make that work. I still have my questions about what happens in those bend or break moments if you can't get pressure without having to dial up something special or get an out-of-body Chris Jones rep. But those are two ways the Chiefs can win. Chris Jones can devour a rep, or Spags can send Leo Chanel from the upper deck and create some pressure in a big moment. And the Chiefs' defense does not need to be elite. It doesn't need to be great. It doesn't need to be the best unit on this team this year. We're seeing the offensive resurgence that we asked for. We're seeing a somewhat healthier wide receiver room. Obviously, that expands today. But if you have a functional offensive line that makes Patrick Mahomes comfortable, if you have a variety of pass catchers who can do this together, and you have Patrick Mahomes playing like the MVP that he is, that's the best team in football. Honestly. And that's not, I'm not saying that from like a mountaintop. The margins are thin. But if you tell me you get a Chiefs offense that's up and running, again, plug Rashee Rice back in, the number one weapon last year and this year, who they wanted to build everything around, derailed last year, didn't get to see very much of it, haven't seen it at all yet this year. That's the best team in football. Frankly, I don't know if that's going to win the division, right? The Chiefs are being outpaced in the division right now because of the slow start, and there's a lot of nonsense that's going to keep happening to other teams and to the Chiefs. The Chiefs are absolutely going to lose a football game this year that we're going to go, what the bleep? Another one? I don't think they're going to go 14-3. I'd be surprised. But man, for as good as it looked at the beginning for the Lions offense, when do they ever get going? Outside of what appears to be another instance of a Steve Spagnuolo fact-finding mission where you just let them do things and you're playing your opening defense and then you adjust and tweak and pivot off of that, when did the Lions offense make you think like, uh-oh, here the dam was about to break? I didn't feel that way. It was a close game. The final score of this feels a little bit inflated. It was tight. But Jahmyr Gibbs, an incredible running back, 17 carries, 65 yards, that's less than 4 yards a carry. His longest run was a 15-yarder. If his longest run would have been a 50-yarder, things are different. Maybe then the dam breaks. If Amon-Ra St. Brown has a 40-yard touchdown, maybe the dam breaks. Jameson Williams had a couple of sequences over the middle of the field where you go, oh boy, are they going to do that all day? No, they didn't. Presumably they couldn't. If the defense gives you that, and I know it's already happening, I've unfortunately been on social media today, the Lions defense, their secondary, was terribly injured. Both teams were missing their starting left tackle. Chiefs are missing the number one wide receiver. The Lions offense, the highest scoring offense in football this year, and last year, I believe, came into Arrowhead and scored 17 points and took the loss. I really think I'm workshopping this one in real time here. So I'm probably going to insult some people. I don't mean to insult. But I think if you take to the internet after a week of football and you decide that one of these results is fraudulent because one of the teams is healthier than the other, I just don't think you're really paying very close attention, honestly. Not just specifically for this game, but in general. This is a 2-touchdown game here. Tucker, I don't know if I wrote the wrong thing, you wrote the wrong thing. 30-17, not 31-17.
I was just double checking that. Yeah, I don't know.
I had over here. I think I might have put it wrong in the notes. Let's find out. Let's look together. What did I say? I can't trust myself on this. I put it wrong in the notes. This one's on me. Hand up.
We were just kind of thinking that Harrison Butker made a field goal and did his job.
That's right. If it should have been 31-17, because Harrison Butker should have made his PAT.
I'll fix it.
No, don't worry about it. We're going to switch off this topic in 30 seconds.
Okay, fine.
I noticed it the last possible second I could notice it and still have it on screen. But if you're talking about, again, like the injuries or who isn't available in a day that Josh Simmons and Rashee Rice didn't play, I don't know what to tell you. We talked about injuries a lot last year. I don't think anybody said, well, look, I mean, the Chiefs got blown out in the Super Bowl, but Isaiah Pacheco and Hollywood Brown, they're back from an injury, and they don't really look the same, and they lost Rashee Rice right at the beginning of the season, basically. It's just how it goes. You play with who you got. The Ravens came into Arrowhead favored, and the Chiefs won. The Chiefs were favored over the Lions. I guess Vegas and the books were keeping track of all the injuries and everything. They were a mild favorite, and they covered the spread by a mile. Not by as much as I wrote for our lower third graphic today, but by 1 point fewer than that. I'm kind of starting with some of the defensive things there, because I think it's probably getting less of the talk today, and more of what we're going to do as the show rolls on is on the offensive side. Let's do that now with the left tackle who did play in this game. You're probably by now aware of the fact that Josh Simmons did not play. He was ruled questionable a few hours before game time, ruled out slightly before inactives came out. Then, of course, he was inactive. Personal matter back in California. I believe I saw Cody Tapp tweeted just a moment ago, or earlier this hour. Cody Tapp said Andy Reid will not answer whether or not Josh Simmons will be back this week against the Raiders.
That's I want to add, Josh, I think that's kind of a bit out of context. Andy Reid just said he wasn't going to talk about it. So because it was a personal matter. I've tried to run that thread, right? I've tried to pull at that thread to see. It looks like other people are saying that yes, he didn't say if he'll be back against the Raiders, right? He didn't say that. But he also said he wasn't going to talk about it. So I think there's a little bit of little ambiguity there.
Right. And I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and still count that as worrisome or odd or whatever, just to keep an eye on that. I assume that means he's not back right now. I don't know if they're expecting him to be back on Wednesday. So another circumstance where it's different than the Chris Jones thing where, there was a funeral and he had a time and they had that figured out. I don't know what's going on with Josh Simmons. There was the one report from James Palmer shortly before the game that was indicating that at least some people with the team were surprised as this was happening. So again, I don't know. Maybe we're going to get some details about it at some point. Maybe we won't. I'm not sure. But just we've got family matter, personal matter. Those are kind of the things that have gotten thrown around. I don't know what's going on there. I do know what happened at left tackle, though, yesterday. And I have not gone back through to chart every Jaylen Moore snap. And frankly, I don't need to for what stood out to me. We'll figure out altogether if he played a good game or a great game. I know it wasn't a bad game because we notice when offensive linemen have bad games like that. Here's what I want to talk about Jaylen Moore. He's making a lot of money, so what I'm about to do isn't like a sob story. I'm not trying to make you feel bad for Jaylen Moore or how his last couple months have gone, but I do want you to really think about what his last 6 months or so have been like, a little more than that. So he plays good ball in San Francisco, backing up Trent Williams. Obviously, San Francisco can't keep him around. He hits the free agent market. The Chiefs, after just having a terrible year at left tackle last year and having some instability in recent years, the Chiefs go and give Jaylen Moore a really nice 2-year contract. And I have to imagine that the conversation at the time was, hey, man, I'm not, you can't put any of this in writing, but the plan is, right now, we sign you, and today you're our left tackle, protecting the blind side of Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, it's only a 2-year deal, but think about it. You get 2 years of protecting Patrick Mahomes' blind side, and then if he goes really well, we're paying you a bunch of money to stick around and keep doing it. We might be paying you more money at the end of this year just to extend you before that second year even comes around. And if it goes okay, you'll have a higher profile being the Chiefs left tackle for 2 years. You'll hit free agency, and somebody else will pay you even if we don't. But week 1, got our free agency depth chart up right here. Week 1, you sign here, and we're going to write your name on the top line at left tackle protecting Patrick Mahomes. That's a great sales pitch to a young tackle trying to make a name and, generational money in a short career that he has. You fast forward to the NFL draft. Josh Simmons is there at 31. They trade back. They select him at 32. I'm sure that Jaylen Moore, when that pick was made, was like, man, okay, so I guess it's a competition now. Well, maybe he's not ready. He's coming off a serious knee injury. So Josh Simmons, maybe this is still going to be my year at left tackle, and then something changes next year. Well, then I guess I could play right tackle if Jaylen Taylor gets cut next year, and then maybe then Simmons takes over. Oh, well, Josh Simmons' knee's been great. He's moving great. Training camps here, he's getting the first team reps, and I'm rotating in. Not even at left tackle, at right tackle. I'm getting some run with the twos, but that's Josh Simmons' job at left tackle. Okay. 5 weeks go by. He's in there as a sixth lineman. I think Mike Caliendo was getting some of those reps as well. He had a couple of the drive or two in New York for Simmons at left tackle. He's had a few snaps here and there, but never really leaned on, and I'd be surprised if he played multiple consecutive snaps very often, if at all, other than that sequence in New York. Then yesterday comes around, and I still don't know the exact timeline here, but from Patrick Mahomes' postgame presser, it sounds like Josh Simmons wasn't there at the noon-ish walkthrough. I don't know how long before that the Chiefs knew he wasn't going to be there, but somewhere around then, Jaylen Moore, who's been running with the twos in practice all week, I assume, Jaylen Moore finds out he's the starting left tackle tonight. I know that backup players talk all the time about preparing as if they're going to start. Preparing it like you're the starter. It's a good habit for whenever you are the starter. You're used to doing that every week. And you really you're always a heartbeat away, a knee ligament away from being thrown in there. That's got to be easier said than done. To be in that headspace. You just can't tell me. I don't think this is his fault, but you cannot tell me that Gardner Minshew and Patrick Mahomes are in the same headspace 3 hours before kickoff or 10 minutes before kickoff. I bet Gardner Minshew's ready to go by snap 1 if something happens. He has to be. That's his job. But it's just different. It just has to be different. So Jaylen Moore gets told at some point yesterday, handful of hours before game time, I assume, you're our starting left tackle. They have Aiden Hutchinson, I think. Have you seen him? And Muhammad on the other side is also a good edge. So he and Jaylen Taylor are always going to have their hands full. We talked about this on Friday when we thought it would be Simmons and Taylor. And Jaylen Moore goes out there, and I'll tell you what, man, as a huge compliment to a lineman, he goes out there and he has a pretty invisible game. You're not calling his name on false starts or holds or alignment. No mental errors, no lapses that we could catch. A couple of really nice reps against Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe it's a B game. Maybe it's a B-plus game. Maybe it's an A game. I don't know. But the path that Jaylen Moore took from blindside protector of Patrick Mahomes to backup, when frankly, he didn't do anything to lose that job. He got drafted over. That's gotta be frustrating. And I thought it was really interesting and really reflected on a lot. I was thinking about this already. We talked about this on the Chiefs Radio Network postgame show last night. And then this morning, the Chiefs post this clip on Instagram, maybe other places. I saw it on Instagram. We're going to play you a chunk of this clip here. If you're listening later on, this is Andy Reid in the Chiefs locker room after the game. He calls the big man, or 77, whatever it is, over. That's Jaylen Moore. So here, Andy Reid, and then Jaylen Moore comes in. You'll see the video here on the feed. Jaylen Moore comes in, and he's the one to break down the huddle at the end.
Hey, up about those Chiefs? All right, baby. Hey, listen, we're back here Tuesday. Great job, man. Great job of hanging together and dominating. That's what you did tonight. And keep that feeling right here. Keep it. Keep that feeling, and we just keep building on it. By the way, the big man, 7'7", get up here, dude.
Let's get it. Family on three. 1, 2, 3.
He was ready for that. He was ready for the game at left tackle. He clearly has been no sour sport in the meantime. And I will say, I've got a crisp $5 bill for anybody who can tell me the bit of audio that got cut out. There's an edit after Andy Reid gets Jaylen Moore up there. He's got his arm around him. Pretty high up. Jaylen Moore's a large man. Andy Reid's got his arm around him, and as he like introduces and pulls him up, and then the video cuts, and then it goes to the breakdown. I want to know the next sentence that Andy Reid said there so bad. Oh, I want to know. It must have been at least a little bit juicy, right? Something about his preparation, something? That's okay. I appreciate the looks in the locker room that we get as is. But I think Jaylen Moore deserves a ton of credit for the way, not only the way he played yesterday, but for the way he's handled the last 6 or 7 months or however long it's been since he signed with the Chiefs, and then most certainly has not had the opportunity to have the year he thought he would be having. It's yes, that's his job. Not everybody does their job with that level of professionalism, and not everybody looks so comfortable when they're called on and put under a spotlight like that. I think Jaylen Moore deserves an absolute ton of credit. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch the order on some things. I know what you need. You're ready for it. You want to hear it. I'm ready for it. I want to hear it. We're going to take a timeout. On the other side of this break, Sad Fans Lions Edition.
Looking to remodel your home and in search of a top-quality company to do the job? Contact Elenco. Since 1986, Elenco has been the remodeler of choice for customers throughout Kansas and Missouri. As a family-owned and operated business, Elenco provides customers top-quality products and unbeatable service straight from their family to yours. From windows and doors to siding, insulation, and bathroom renovations, there's no need that Elenco can't meet and exceed. Elenco only installs products that have proven track records of success, such as the Kohler Luckstone shower system. Elenco's installers are factory-trained professionals who know how to get the job done, not only quickly, but flawlessly. Whether you're located in Kansas City, Topeka, Wichita, or a rural town in northeastern Kansas or western Missouri, Elenco will come to you. Go to elencohome.com for more information. That's ALENCO home.com. Again, elencohome.com for more information, and contact them about all your home improvement needs.
Chiefs Kingdom, I have got a question for you. What is your favorite touchdown? Well, for me, I can confidently say that my favorite touchdown, it's the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From the first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. From spreads to money lines, same-game parlays, regular parlays, you want it, DraftKings has got it. Here's the best part. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I use DraftKings Sportsbook, and you should too. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
let's cannonball in the way that this game deserves. Tucker D. Franklin is here. Beards McFly's Sad Fans Lions edition is here. Let's see how the fans handled that. Hopefully they took it better than Brian Branch.
And now, a list of things said by sad Lions fans. NFL hates fun. All that to get a field goal. It's not reviewable, but we will review it off no TD.
They didn't
I really hate how well Mahomes can turn an almost negative play into a very good positive play. Thought Hutch had the sack. Instead, we get absolutely gashed.
That's weird. I love
really defense. Collinsworth and Tirico are talking about Mahomes' first touchdown like it's their grown child who's going off to college. Nothing is worse than watching Pat Mahomes pump fake. St. Brown is about to go ham with the jug machine this week. Does Mahomes have a hickey? Crying laughing emoji? Refs were listening to the new Taylor album pregame. How is it a PI if the ball wasn't catchable for anyone? Refs got jokes. Maybe Mahomes is going to throw to his buddy on every play. I would try covering him. Think if I wave my arms around on the couch, I can get a pass interference call here too?
Aww.
There's 30 seconds until halftime. Why commercials? Let's get a pick and hope Taylor Swift sings a sad song about it later. Somehow, a reviewable play gets no time for a review, but a non-reviewable play gets paused for 2 minutes.
Dan Campbell has a
Hey
challenge
guys,
fact.
why the f*** was no one covering Casey's star player? Is there a ref scorecard after the game like there is for baseball? 2 stupid plays in a row. Getting crowned the best team in the league during the week just to get embarrassed on national TV is a tough look. Yeah. Great. Now we get to hear fraud talk all week. Already heard all week how the Ravens win wasn't a real win. Oh, good. Dumb play calls are back. Did the Lions watch the USC-Michigan game and said, yeah, let's do screen passes. That works. Let's give 200 yards to a geriatric Kelsey. DC is doing jack about it. Of course he juggles that into his hands. F*** off. Jack was like a fly on there. Who thought it was a good idea to make Thing 1 and Thing 2 announcers for today? Fuck you, refs. Eat all the Personal foul for getting too close to Mahomes. Every time KC gets a break, they then switch up plays and keep catching Detroit off guard with them. Sigh. Defense is playing COVID social distancing style defense. What in the blown coverage? Yeah, feels on brand. Shepard can kiss my with this defense.
At least they took a while.
I think we're on fraud watch, boys. We blew way too many opportunities. Crying emoji. I don't care. I wanted to play COD Zombies through tear-blurred vision anyways. Man, Carrie Underwood really hyped this game up. What a bummer. Cool. Brian Branch probably gets suspended now, too.
Yeah.
Yep. The shittiest sports weekend to have ever weekended. Sad face emoji.
Michigan lost.
Dumbasses fighting. Why didn't they try this hard during the game? I do not take the Chiefs as a serious franchise, nor do I recognize them as champions until the refs start calling a fair game. Stayed up late for the Tigers. Now this. LOL.
The Tigers. I forgot about that.
And now, the one thing that didn't make it from the opposing team. Aiden Hutchinson looks like a professional bowler. And now,
His haircut's
one
wrong.
loser of things said by sad fans. Comment. Just turned the game on. How much Mahomes glazing from Collinsworth have I missed? Reply. Collinsworth glazed the Kermit voice. I think that sums it up. Editorial comment by Beards McFly here. Has nobody seen the Muppets? Does nobody know what Kermit the Frog sounds like? He has been around since 1955. How does nobody know what he sounds like? Has nobody watched the Muppets TV show? Has nobody seen Muppets Christmas Carol? Has nobody watched Muppets from Space? Has nobody seen the cinematic masterpiece that is Muppet Treasure Island? How the f*** do we not know what Kermit the Frog sounds like in its 2025? And now, the winner of Things Said by Sad Lions fans. Dan's on his 8th quadruple espresso drink.
Beards told us that it was a slightly longer edit. Yeah, and I was like, that's weird. Why?
It makes sense now. It makes sense why the edit was a little bit longer.
That's excellent stuff yet again from the one, the only, Beards McFly. That's his handle on all of his socials if you want to just go tweet him and tell him how glad you are to have Sad fans back. I gotta be honest, man. So 2 things for me that is going to keep me from being as steamrolled by the worst narratives that come from every football game now is that I don't hear the broadcast anymore. I'm hearing Mitch Holthus and Dana Hughes on the call, and we're all in. I hear that like 6 seconds before I see the first TV play it, and then I see the second TV play. It's like a good setup for seeing replays and stuff, and a perfect setup for not hearing the dumbest things that happen on your television every week. And so I don't not even anything specific here. I didn't hear the Kermit thing. I only knew that it was bad from Beards tweeting about it at some point.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's weird. Did Collinsworth do a bad Kermit impression? And it sounds like he did, and it hit a nerve.
It was not a good one, but overall the broadcast was fine.
That's okay.
People always get upset about Collinsworth like talking about Mahomes, and they'll say, "Oh, he always glaces Mahomes," but like I don't feel that way. Like I don't feel like that he does. Like when I watch him watch Josh Allen, it's like, oh my gosh, this guy will not shut up. So that's probably what people feel like, right? It's like, oh, this guy. But here's the thing: Josh Allen makes a lot of really good plays. Patrick Mahomes makes a lot of really good plays. That he's just talking about what's going on the football field, and like, yeah, it's probably annoying for like us Chiefs fans to hear him talk about Josh Allen, but. I mean, I've never understood, especially like the Monday Night Football one was weird because they're like, oh, they're just going to glaze Mahomes. And I was like, those 2 guys in particular with Buck and Aikman, they do not do that. No. And people think that they do all the time. I thought it was overall, Sunday Night Football is one of my favorite productions that the NFL does. It actually, I think, is my favorite production that the NFL does with everything. I think they got a good crew outside of Mike Florio. And then they got a good sideline reporting. They got great. I loved it when it was Al Michaels on the call too. Al Michaels, a legend. Games kind of passed up Al Michaels. There's been a couple Thursday night games when he's just like, oh, that's a great catch, and then the ball's like rolling on the ground, and Herb Street's like, actually, Al, he dropped it.
Yeah. Kirk's been helping a lot. I've noticed that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Kirk. Shout out Kirk. He's doing a whole lot of stuff.
I'll tell you what. If we're veering into that conversation briefly, nobody has increased their stock in my book more in an NFL booth the last couple years than Herb Street. I was not on board with that initially because I don't know. I feel like not that he couldn't also talk about pro ball, but it's like you're kind of the voice of the biggest games in college football already. Let's give this to Greg Olson if you want or whatever.
Right,
but I think Herb Street's done a really good job. Anyway.
No, I think so too. So I think the broadcast is very interesting. It was fine, and the officiating also is very. There was actual real life people who thought the roughing the passer on Aiden Hutchinson wasn't actually roughing the passer. There was real life people trying to defend that.
This is the second thing from the way I consume games now, Tucker. I didn't know that Lions fans were mad about the refereeing until this morning. Yeah. I don't have the time or ability to be like very online during games now because I'm doing stuff for post game. And obviously I knew the Chiefs didn't have any penalties because they played a clean game. It was like, wow, what a remarkable turnaround for a team that got penalized a bunch last week. We might just have to stop. I don't know. We knew this last year. There's no winning that conversation because logic doesn't matter. Why did the refs? How and why did the refs fix a 2-score game in Arrowhead, but called the Chiefs for 13 penalties against the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday Night Football on ESPN? Why? If the Beard said in the chat that they were furious about the refs, right? I know now. I know now. Mm-hmm. I didn't in real time. The Lions' penalties were penalties. The Chiefs didn't get flagged. Did the refs miss a holding somewhere? 100%. I'm sure they did. Because to be generous, there's a missed hold every drive, if not arguably one almost every play. I thought, not being on Lions Twitter and not hearing the TV broadcast, I thought that we had a largely an effective, non-offensive refereeing experience.
Yeah.
And I found out after the game that the losing team's fan base disagreed, which was weird.
Yeah, very strange. I saw a tweet while Matt Verder and I were recording that football show from a Lions account saying, like, Mahomes was the flop king, as Aiden Hutchinson hit him 4 steps after he released the ball and in the head.
Yeah, my most generous theory there is that I legit don't know if Aiden Hutchinson knew that Mahomes didn't have the football anymore.
Correct.
Because
yeah.
Hutchinson kind of had whoever was blocking him kind of in his field of vision, took a little bit of a weird path, and Mahomes had a very short get rid of the ball kind of thing. So then when Hutchinson fully popped him as if Mahomes still had the football, it was like, oh, I wasn't a dirty play. It was just the letter of the law penalty to a T. I that was the one in the sad fans there that just kind of blew my mind. Like, oh, I didn't even know that was being negotiated. That's right. Crazy. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I didn't want to talk about it this much. I want to get to a point where we don't have to talk about it. At some point mid-season, further into the year, I'm going to break down and we're going to do an entire hour about refereeing discourse. But today's not that day. Because I want to talk to you, Tucker, about the Chiefs offense.
Yeah.
I'm very much a ball knower. We know this. This is a ball knowing show. I started with a lot of the defense and the backup left tackle, but I think rightfully so. But look, the evolution of this team is going to be about how high powered this offense can be. I'm going to give you 2 stats, and then it's all yours. Jesse Newell tweeted this. He said this is at the 9:30 mark of the fourth quarter. So the numbers will have changed some, but this is a good time to call it an insane stat. From Jesse Newell. At the 9:30 mark of the fourth quarter versus the Lions, the Chiefs have scored touchdowns. Shout out Troy Aikman here. The Chiefs have scored touchdowns on 33.3% of their offensive drives this season per True Media. It's the Chiefs' highest mark since 2018 and better than any of the last 3 seasons that ended in the Super Bowl. Rashee Rice returns next week. From Sheil Kapadia. Last week, the Chiefs' offense produced the highest success rate of any team in a game this season. Tonight was a 94th percentile offensive game based on EPA per drive. This is without Rashee Rice. This is with Travis Kelce leading the team in receiving. This is with Hollywood Brown playing about half the snaps, I think, catching 2 touchdowns. This is without getting Tyquan Thornton involved. He was out there some, not a lot, didn't get a target. This is with a little bit from Brashard Smith. This is, I don't know if I mentioned Juju yet. He's doing the Juju Smith-Schuster things that he's always out there doing. What was his actual stat line here? Because I feel like he had a perfect 3 for 57. Yeah. 3 for 57. You know what? A 30-yard long is not a typical Juju box score stat line. So more credit there. You just got Noah Gray played a lot more snaps. They played a lot of 12 personnel. He had 2 catches and one nice 19-yarder. Xavier Worthy caught 2 for 20. Xavier Worthy being this team's 4th or 5th total yards from scrimmage player, not in my playbook. Not how I thought this was going to go. But if that's who the Lions are paying attention to and your other guys can step up, that's repeatable. That's huge.
Right.
And your number 1 wide receiver is about to come back this week. I'm so happy to see this evolution of the Chiefs offense.
Against the Raiders team, that is, as I made very clear on that football show, booty butt ass cheeks. Like that is a really bad defense.
Coming off a win, Tucker, against the Tennessee Titans. Okay, never mind.
Which they are super mega booty butt ass cheeks. The Titans
however much more butt you have to add.
Right? Yeah.
Or do you lose butt? I don't
know. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'll have to consult with the council on that one. That was a game that you absolutely, Captain Obvious here, you love to see. That's an offensive performance that look. The middle 8, Josh, I think you talked about that last week against the Jags. Horrendous. The worst middle 8 that you could probably do. And then they come back on this game and have the best middle 8 that you could possibly do. You mentioned the penalties. You mentioned no turnovers. Only 1 punt, I think.
Yep. So it was like 1 punt and 1 turnover on downs.
Yeah, the first time since 1975 that a team has had 0 turnovers, 0 penalties, and only 1 punt. Like one of the cleanest football games literally played of all time, coming off of one of the sloppiest football games probably played of all time. I don't have that stat off the top of the head. But I will say, you mentioned Jaylen Moore, comes in, plays flawlessly. They are going to get hopefully going to get their 2 best offensive players outside of Patrick Mahomes back in Joshua Simmons, and by terms of PFF grade, and Rashee Rice back on this offense to add a little bit more. And Verder and I started talking about this on that football show. It's like, how do you cover this team now? Like, how do defenses start? You can't man up. You can't man up. Rashee Rice is too good at separation. Like, they got too much speed for you to man up. Play zone. Travis Kelce's going to tear you apart like he just showed. A vintage Travis Kelce performance for him here, 6 on 78. He only had 1 target, or had 7 targets, didn't bring 1 in, and that ball was a weirdly placed ball. Probably should have caught it, but it was a little bit behind him on his back hip. A catch you usually see Travis Kelce make. Yep. But what I was impressed, we talk about Travis Kelce a little bit more. This is the first thing I wanted to talk about on the post-game show, too, when they threw me in there. It's like, hey, Travis Kelce coming out there having 6 catches, 78 yards, 13 per catch. Longest was 17 yards. But what I was most impressed about was 3rd and Kelce is back on the menu. 3rd and Kelce was there. Coming into the game last night, Travis Kelce had 3 catches on 3rd down in 5 weeks. Pretty uncharacteristic of Travis Kelce because you usually see Patrick Mahomes go to Travis Kelce a lot. Against the Detroit Lions, he had 2. So he nearly doubled up his season total for catches on 3rd downs, and a couple of those 3rd down catches were big. There was a 3rd and 7 that he kind of double caught the ball, still caught it, but it was able to keep the drive going into a touchdown. And then the one where he just kind of turned around in his zone, did a vintage little Travis Kelce. Oh, the zone's soft right here. I'm just going to turn around and Patrick will just throw it to me. It was one of those couple of those classic plays for Travis Kelce. It's great to see that. And I mean, look, they're really running the Young Ball system here, as we kind of talked about last year.
That's so true.
You got Travis Kelce and Juju Smith-Schuster, your top 2 leading receivers. Shout out to Hollywood Brown for getting 2 tutties in on the day. That's awesome for him. Xavier Worthy obviously got that touchdown on that little pop pass. They need to do those more to stat pad for Pat because plenty of
those are freebies. Those are great.
Josh Allen, they stat pad for Josh Allen all the time where he poaches those like 1-yard touchdown runs. He'll just go ahead and the quarterback sneak them. They're not going to sneak, so why don't you give him a pop pass, right?
I love that. Yeah.
Mahomes played incredible. 22 of 30, 257. I mean, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 132 passer rating. Just a day at the office that I don't think could have gone better for on the offensive side of the ball. There were some shaky moments on the defense. You kind of talked about it, but they wholly righted the ship. The Chiefs also did not play a ton of 11 personnel. I think this is their lowest all year that they played with 11 personnel. So a lot of heavier sets. I think Bob Tunyon got in a few times. Like, he got in a lot more in this game than he did in other games as well. So using him there, it was a really impressive performance. And Josh, I think you and I kind of talked about this, or at least I talked about it on the stream. I don't know where I talk about things because I just have a mic in front of my face at all times.
It's impossible. Yeah, who could possibly know?
The vibes of this game coming into it were a little bit like that 2022 Tampa Bay game where the Chiefs were coming off the Colts loss. You're like, wow,
this is in
team,
post game. I just heard you say that about an hour ago in my ears.
That's crazy. The team kind of, you're like, wow, I don't know if this Chiefs team's going to be any good. And then they just go up and just destroy the best team of the NFC. That's kind of what happened here. I mean, this was the best team in the NFL talked about coming into it, largely, however you want to put stock into power rankings. You shouldn't. Right. This was the team that was the best team in the National Football League coming in, and then they get taken to the cleaners by a Chiefs team that was declared dead in week 2. So, I mean, this year in particular about the NFL, like, it is the parity in this league is so insane already, like, just for this season, because the Chiefs beat the Lions, but the Chiefs also lost to the Jags, and the Jags also lost to the Bengals, and the Bengals also, I think, lost to the Browns. So the Browns are the best team in the National Football League, I think is how that works.
The Titans have fired Brian Callahan.
No way.
Schefter, we have our first hot seat exploding underneath the butt of the coach. Losing to the Raiders gets you fired.
You know that one song from an artist I will not name. It's everything that I have, praise the Lord.
Yeah, it sounds familiar, but I honestly I can't think of who that is right now. And everyone who knows now, and I don't, and so that's okay. Here's okay. What you want some Unk Ball analytics, Tucker?
Yes, give me Unk Ball analytics.
The Chiefs' top 3 receivers yesterday were an average of 31 years old. Now, Travis Kelce is of course gonna be on one end of the curve there. He just turned 36.
Right.
Juju and Hollywood are both 28, but Juju's about to turn 29, so I'm rounding him up to 29. Hollywood rounding down to 28. That's 93 years of life from the top 3 weapons. 93 divided by 3 is 31.
Insane.
So Unk Ball is back. The Chiefs' average wide receivers were still older than me yesterday. So I'm holding on to that one for a matter of months. I'd be rounding myself up, actually, so we're going to go ahead and call ourselves all about even there. To the point about, like, how do you defend this team now?
Yeah.
This again, was not a big Xavier-worthy game.
Oh.
And that specific, the Kelce little just, like, quick run, turned around, laser beam to your face from Mahomes. If that's back on the menu... Every 3rd and 4th down has to be terrifying for opposing defenses. Whatever the down and distance is, maybe they can run the ball decently. And they by the way, did run the ball decently. I think I mentioned this in the first segment, but they ran the ball solidly in this game. Did I give the yards per carry a little math? I don't think I did say that, but I wrote it down earlier, so I'm going to make sure I say it at some point if I didn't already. Minus the kneel downs, the Chiefs ran 27 times for 114 yards. That's 4.2 yards per carry. I'm good with that. That'll play. You got more under center success with Pacheco. Kareem Hunt had a couple of nice reps. Brashard Smith was in the mid. They're doing some kind of mixing up the running backs, especially late in the game there. Brashard Smith was through the air. And then they had that fun little screen where Hunt and Smith were both in the backfield and ran opposite directions, and they threw it to Kareem. Someday that ball will go to Brashard Smith, and he'll be faster with it. But Kareem Hunt, you can trust to do what he needs to do there. So no carries for Brashard Smith, but he was in the mix there a little bit. If this was the Chiefs' offense, I'd feel good today. Yeah. If this is what we were going to see going forward, I'd say, okay, you still need some more guys you'd like to have somebody who can beat man. You want to see Worthy get healthier, and I'd probably be nitpicking about more Tyquan Thornton. Just say you got to get some more speed out there. Hollywood and Juju and even Noah Gray in this game all really had proof of concept for them in the intermediate range, but you want to be able to get the deep ball back. You want to be able to push the ball down the field. Their longest play of the game was that 30-yarder to Juju Smith-Schuster. That's not your deep ball, right? For a team that's bringing back the explosive deep ball, that's not what they did today. Also, the passing chart is crazy. Yeah. We didn't upload it or anything here. I'll tell you what, it's all to the numbers. Yeah. It's all outside the hashes. So much of this game was quick horizontal. And I guess you guys talked about this on postgame. You want to make the healthy and good linebackers run. Just make them go chase you for speed, and you've got these backup corners you want to try to pick on. I really did think that was a fascinating and ultimately very effective game plan from Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, all the guys that Andy gives the credit to postgame. But if that was the Chiefs' offense for the next 10, 12 into the postseason, 15 weeks or whatever it would be, I'd feel pretty good today. I would tell you that I think the Chiefs are climbing that muck pile I mention every show now. Knowing that their number one wide receiver comes back tomorrow, or today, I guess now, with practice Wednesday, I don't know. I'm getting borderline irrational about it in a very fun way.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I think there's very good reasons to be excited. This is like we're approaching 2018 levels of Chiefs offensive excitement. And then you mentioned the deep ball. Tyquan Thornton didn't have a target, so yeah.
I bet that changes soon. I don't think he has not been permanently demoted. He is not being cut when Rashee Rice comes back.
No.
He's gonna be a part of the mix. It just wasn't. Sometimes you talk about like the game plan. It wasn't in the game plan. It wasn't in the packages. And you're like, really, man? Also defensively, more Trent McDuffie in the slot, less Shamari Connor in the slot, more Noel Williams on the outside. Christian Fulton, technically a healthy scratch.
Technically, yeah. He was full participant all week. Yeah.
So, I don't know. Keep an eye on that one. We'll hear from Spags on Thursday, and maybe I'm sure he'll get a direct question about that.
I hope so.
That was weird. And would continue to be weird. If they wanted to give him like one more week and then he was going to play a bunch against the Raiders, cool. I don't know if that's happening. And that, like, if Noah Williams is just better than Christian Fulton right now, that's not bad, but the contract still would be. Anyway, I just feel like you should be, Chiefs fans, you should be in a great place right now. Enjoy a leisurely, fun, energetic Monday, because Monday night was so bad that it just took the air out of the sails all week. I said this in the pregame show. It was a short week for the Chiefs, but those were some long days from the Jags game to the Lions game, and I feel like our days have shortened up a little bit here now. You want to do something new here, Tucker? You want to get a little bit of your nonsense wiggles out and talk about a few more things? Yes. Let's do this. We don't have the wherewithal or right at this moment the technical know-how to bring back shot clock reviews. That was a great radio bit when we had lots of reviews and lots of people. But sometimes Tucker and I just do nonsense throughout the course of a week, and we need to talk about it somewhere, dang it. So, introducing, after this break, which I forgot we were also taking. Let's take it, because it's it's the end of the show. I've beefed it again, Tucker. I completely forgot we had a second thing today.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, we're still not gonna debut the thing that I think rules that will debut on Friday because it's 12:58, and I'm bad at clock management, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to not mention my first rapid fire review because I'll explain it whenever we unveil the fun new little thing that's coming down the line at some point.
I can cut one of mine though too, since you're cutting one. I'll cut it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can go two each.
Well, then, why don't you tell me about one battle after another here in Rapid Fire Reviews? Bum, bum, bum.
Great film, should win a lot of awards. Leo is a phenomenal actor, and he should have more Oscars to his name than he does. He is very good in this film, and so is Benito del Toro. Phenomenal film. Really enjoyed it from point A to point B. It's a long one, 2 hours, 43 minutes, but did not feel that long. You kind of get lost in it. And you get swept up by the story. Very good movie. It's going to be winning a lot of awards this award season, Josh.
I'm very excited to see it. I got distracted because I was scrolling to see if I could find the lower third that says Rapid Fire Reviews.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that I was supposed to do that. Sorry, here we go.
No, that's okay. Your Rapid Fire Reviews! Blah, blah. Tucker, tell me about one battle. No, I am excited. Again, yeah. Mike Vrabel and the Patriots go to the Titans on Sunday. That's hysterical.
You know what's also really funny? Brian Callahan was 4-19. They fired him and his record was 4-19. That's bad. That's ass. Sorry.
Really bad.
For cussing, but that's
really
ass.
Thank you for apologizing. That's really bad. Last week, today's Monday. Last week, I went to the first concert I've been to in a little bit. I'm a big concert guy. Love going to shows, live music, nothing like it. Good to do. And Renee and I went to go see Joe, which is spelled D-J-O. Mm-hmm. It's the stage name of a man named Joe Keery, who you may know as Steve from Stranger Things.
So cool.
Discovering this years ago, that I found one of these songs. I believe the song at the time was Roddy, which was the first song he ever put out. Found that song. Wait a second. This is Joe Keery, the guy from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
His first album, 2020, which not to brag, but I did buy that on vinyl at the show because I didn't really want the poster they had. I've got all my posters back here. None of the posters fit this size, so no poster for me. But I got that on vinyl because that album is unbelievable. His second album, called Decide, has a song called End of Beginning that you may have heard. It blew up on social media, but it blew up on social media after I knew about it and after I was telling people that it was a great song and people should know about him. So I'm not gatekeeping because the gates have been busted open, but I'm taking my hipster cred on finding this incredible collision of worlds earlier. And then The Crux, his third album, came out this summer, and then he released a whole bonus album on top of that a couple of weeks ago, The Crux Deluxe. Here's the thing that I want to say. First of all, some of his early stuff, you can hear some real obvious long-held Beatle-y kind of influences underneath some of his music. I know this can really go either way when you're like, hey, here's someone who got famous acting and now they're making music. It's okay, well, this is either going to be maybe not awesome, or this is the thing they were most born to do or the most creatively fulfilled by or whatever, and they're also a talented actor. That's Joe. I have been so impressed by all three of these albums. His evolution across all three of them and the show was fantastic. He was playing, multiple guitars. He did a little set at the keys. He had a little DJ setup that he did for a while. DJ Joe, DJ O, I don't know. it was weird because they sold out, absolutely packed Grinders, Kansas City. It was the most full I've ever seen a show that they said it was sold out. Like, how do you sell out standing room only? Well, this is what it looked like. It was packed. I didn't know what to expect in terms of like the level of his cult following, but I can't be much more impressed by the actual musical effort of what he has done. If you become really famous and well known in one line of performance and you are able to do this in another aspect of performance, dude is a musician and an artist that way, in a way that I'm very impressed by. So a full-throated endorsement for Joe, DJO. No, you don't need to know anything about Stranger Things. You can just listen to his music.
Yeah, no references to Stranger Things in the tracks. Yeah, I was familiar with him because of the song that went popular, because I'm a mainstream normie loser.
That's okay.
But I do enjoy his music. The ones that I've heard even outside of his popular tracks, I've been very very impressed by that.
Yes, as have I. Very very much worth a listen. Tell me about Tucker. Tell me about the new beefiest boy in town. Who's the new beefiest boy? Tell me about him.
The biggest event in bodybuilding was this past weekend. It's the Mr. Olympia contest. It's the 61st annual show of it. It was October 9th to 12th. Kicked off on Friday. Had some prejudging. Saturday was the big day, and you had your IFBB, International Federation of Bodybuilding, pro winners here. So all of these guys, they gotta get their pro card, and they gotta go get into these contests. So this is to decide. So really what it comes down to, Mr. Olympia, there's a lot of different bodybuilding contests around the world that were going on, right? But they said, if you win all these, and then the other bodybuilders were like, well, look, I won this contest, so I'm the best. And they're like, no, well, I won this one, so I'm the best. So they're like, well, let's just make one Super Bowl of bodybuilding, essentially. You can qualify for this one by winning other meets, right? You can win. There's other big ones, right? There's the Arnold Classic. There's all kinds of stuff. MEETS.
I know, MEETS. Yeah, I was just thinking about doing something like the Beefy Boy of the Week, brought to you by Batchelder Family Farms or whatever, and then you said win some other meets, and I was like, man, you know what? Maybe we do have something here.
Yo,
and
then
my brain got up.
I'm bringing that up to Brad, we do Beefy Boy of the Week. That'd be kind of sick. That'd be pretty sick. But we have a new Mr. Olympia. Like there was a new classic physique winner because Chris Bumstead, who was the winner, he had actually won it 6 straight times in classic physique. He had won it 6 straight times. He decided to retire. He's doing all of the Josh.
Can you tell me what classic means?
Yeah, so classic, they're not as there's a weight limit for classic. So like,
okay. Is there another degree of testing classically, or
no? Steroids are legal for all of them, and actually,
really? I thought maybe the classic one was just like a wink and a nod, and we're like, we test here and maybe not elsewhere. I got something in my eye. Okay.
No, they want you to take steroids for all of them. Chris Bumstead was taking steroids since he was like 17. So like that's crazy and probably won't have any ramifications. Yeah. He's very handsome and also very jacked at the same time.
Well, maybe I should have started earlier.
Worked out for him. So that's kind of cool. There is a new Mr. Olympia though this year. Derek Lunsford is the new Mr. Olympia this year. Shout out to Derek Lunsford. He had lost to Mr. Olympia previously, now becomes the second. He is now the second bodybuilder ever to lose a Mr. Olympia and then win one previously. The other one, his name is Jay Cutler, not the quarterback. Whoa! But his name is also Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler had a lot of clashes with Ronnie Coleman. You know that name, Ronnie Coleman?
No.
Big in the bodybuilding industry.
No.
He beats Lunsford beats Samuel Duda, I believe is his last name. Let me double check this. Samson Duda, and he won last year. He gets 4th place this year. Duda does. But there's a little bit of controversy around the beefiest boy of the year is because, look, I don't want to say Derek, Mr. Lunsford, jacked individual, huge guy.
Sure.
But I did have to upload this picture, Josh, so you had a reference. Okay.
I can't wait.
These are the top 4 beefy boys. All right. Shout out to Fit Dudes on Facebook. hilarious Facebook page. I got this really great image from, but I wanted to give them credit. Fit Dudes. I have to drop them a like. So here are the top 4 the top 4 of the Mr. Olympia.
If you're at audio only, I'll just say they're the craziest, wettest looking action figures you've ever seen after you've taken off all of their clothes.
Yeah.
This is crazy. This
It's
is
cartoon-like.
literally the limits of the human body pushed, I'm going to go ahead and say, slightly too far.
No, I would agree with you. And like that's part of it too, is just like, oh, how can we build these human bodies? And that's like kind of a degree of it. So Derek, as you can see here, he's the second from the left. He's the one who won. Look how massive his legs are. I think that's a part of the reason that he did win. I truthfully think Andrew might have the best build of them all, but his legs, mass-wise, are not the size of Samson, who won last year. Hottie, I believe, got second this year. Yeah, Hottie got second, Andrew got third, and Samson got fourth. So I think that like they obviously take into consideration mass as well as definition when it comes to bodybuilding. And there's a little bit of a controversy because Derek, if you're looking at these guys, like Hottie looks pretty good. I mean, Samson dominated the prejudging round, right? So there's a lot of controversy about Derek winning because Derek had won two other events prior to the Mr. Olympia. So winning the Mr. Olympia makes him the only Triple Crown winner in bodybuilding history. So people are speculating that there's some politics afoot to be like, hey, this guy's a Triple Crown winner. He won the Triple Crown. Look at this guy. He won the Triple Crown when maybe he not necessarily should have, because when you look at those, I mean, there's some jacked up dudes. There's some beefy boys. But like, yeah, it was big contest, happens in Las Vegas every single year. I tried to stay up until it was 1 a.m. I think, and they didn't have the winner. They had all the winners, and I couldn't stay up for it. It's a pay-per-view. I wasn't going to pay for the stream.
Pay-per-view?
Yeah, you can't watch. They don't put it on TV. It's a pay-per-view. But the biggest bodybuilding event of the year. Congratulations to Mr. Derek Lunsford for his first Mr. Olympia. Gets $600,000 for that too. So shout out.
Wow, that's crazy.
For all that. Shout out to all the other winners too. I mean, they got a bunch of different categories at the Mr. Olympia. They got 212, which is another category classic. They have physique, Miss Olympia. They've got fitness, figure, women's physique, wellness, the bikini, and they also have a pro wheelchair as well. So all kinds of stuff going on.
I mean, I'm just going to talk to BJ. I don't have the kind of pull to do this, but we're going to send you next year.
That would be sick.
We're going to send you, and you're going to vlog your trip to the Bodybuilding World Championships in Vegas. Or whatever it's called. Mr. Olympic, whatever. Man, Tucker, we've done a lot of content together over the years. Mm-hmm. I think that might have been the craziest thing you've ever brought.
Oh, probably. I understand. Like, I don't. Sometimes I'm
glad you did. I appreciate that it's a part of this show. I just like.
I find it wildly interesting. Like I don't.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So like, I just think it's not something that like I obviously want to be like jacked, but not that jacked, right? Like.
Yeah. It just seems like your life has to be largely pretty miserable a lot of the time to get anywhere near that.
Right. It's like one of the things that's like they feel like case studies to me of just like how crazy can we make a human body look? Like if we push the human body all the way to a limit, how can we make it look? And like these are all individual case studies of like if you do this, your body can look like this.
Justin and Griffin McElroy had a series on Polygon that they still do on their own YouTube channel now called Monster Factory.
Yeah.
I love Monster Factory. They go into video game character creators and just try to make like the craziest guys they can out of that, and then play the game with them, and to various degrees. It's a remarkable series.
Yeah.
But the appeal does become tested for me when you're like, okay, so this episode of Monster Factory, it's the exact same show you used to. But after we make the character, we're going to imbue it with a human soul. And that's because and bodybuilding is kind of that. It's like, okay, here are people with like families and lives, and we're going to jack their sliders all the way up. And it's just, it's really jarring, Tucker, but I'm very glad that you brought that. I didn't think my Monday could get any better, and now it's gotten weirder at least, and I appreciate that.
The chat is disturbed by it, and I will. I will say that, like, look, I
definitely should have opened the comments for that.
I need shout out to Renee for saying they look like they're made out of beef jerky. I've never understood like the tanning aspect of it, of why they make them like spray tan as dark as they do. Like, I don't understand that part of it. maybe, I guess, contrast for muscles. I don't know, but I don't know why they do that. But yes, lots of comments about the way that those gentlemen look.
If they're happy, I'm happy for them. I want, people should do what
For sure.
what makes
Who am
them
I?
happy with their exactly. I do love your Gold's Gym hoodie, by the way. I meant to mention that earlier. It's just a really, really good look.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm rooting for them in their own way. I just can't quite wrap my head around it all, and maybe that's because I'm a beta. I don't know.
I would never do it. I would
No
never
way.
do it. Yeah, but I agree. It is something of just like that's really interesting, and it's something that I would never do. But I find it interesting that people do it.
Maybe that's the genre for you to keep just kind of trolling for. The tanning emphasizes the definition. Okay, thank
That's
you.
what I speculate. Okay, so that makes sense.
I do want to say this is not. I don't want this. I'm not gonna be able to finish the sentence in a way that's not gonna sound bad, but I'm gonna have to stick to it because if I don't say it now, it's not gonna come out. I do think we need an incredibly pale bodybuilder just up there for like maybe it's just for comparison. Maybe you celebrate the spectrum of diversity. I need a bodybuilding vampire is what I need.
Yeah. So you need like a baseline is what you want to go for.
I don't want to say anything else about people's skin tone whatsoever. I have decided that what I said is the most that I can say before I eventually say something incorrectly, and that's what I'm aware of. Here's what I want to ask. Maybe this is your genre. Okay. Finding the things in the world where you're like, oh, this is not for me, but it's fascinating. You can bring me one of those once a week, Tucker, and we'll do exactly this. I will happily sit here sort of uncomfortably horrified in my chair while you explain to me the incredible world of, I don't know, like duck raising or something, which actually does sound very much up my alley. I don't know why I picked that. But man, or just update us on your latest bodybuilding discoveries.
Like 30 jobs kind of deal.
Yes. Yeah, that's
great.
There's gonna be a punny title in there somewhere, and we'll have to figure that out. Now, Jackie in the chat really wants more bodybuilding content. I don't think we can let Jackie down.
I think Jackie is a big bodybuilding guy. Is what it seems like.
Seems like it.
It seems like he really loves that.
Whew.
Yeah. So wasn't
Mary in the chat says people who free solo mountain faces. That's another one for me where I haven't even watched. Alex Honnold, I think. I didn't watch Free Solo. I've seen some clips and stuff from him. I think that's kind of fascinating. Did you see the show's over, right? We ended the show 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, I think so.
Did you see the latest Red Bull thing where a guy just skateboards down the side of a building?
No.
It's literally like building height. There's not like windows and stuff. Right. It's insane, and I'm not going to describe it right now because it would not have the same effect. But like I could feel my heart rate coming up as I'm seeing the skateboarder looking down off of the teeny ledge he's on before he just dives off of the building and his wheels stay on the ground and he's fine.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Steven says Tucker D Madness. That's not bad. Or maybe it needs to be something that starts with a D. We'll figure it out. We'll figure that out. Tucker's Dirty Jobs esque recurring segment, I think, is going to be a hit and really challenging emotionally for everyone else.
Right? Yeah. I didn't realize how much bodybuilding was going to cause the chat distress.
I didn't know how much it was going to cause me distress.
Right, yeah, I didn't realize. I guess I've just become so used to it because I follow a lot of these guys. Because here's the thing, too, is that, like, if you're a bodybuilder, you're also, like, a fitness influencer at the same time, right?
Sure.
So there's a lot of... So I know I've spent way more than my allotted 24 seconds talking about bodybuilding, but there's a bit of controversy when it comes to all this too. When it comes to like natural or not, right? Because a lot of these bodybuilders, as I mentioned, are not natural. They're taking testosterone, they're taking steroids, they're taking whatever, right? They got a whole cocktail of drugs or they're sticking in their cheek. Yeah, creatine as well. Yes, they are probably taking creatine. So. There's a controversy of guys, and you saw this with the Liver King, right? The Liver King was one of them too, where they're promoting all of these like health and wellness brands, and like, hey, I take this supplement, you could look like this, but they're also leaving out the fact that they are juicing and are taking copious amounts of steroids, spending $30,000 a month on steroids to make their bodies. Yeah, that was the Liver King.
Lord!
It's not.
I thought he was natural.
Yeah, right. He was just eating bull testicle. Is it?
No.
That's all he was doing. Liver, bull testicles, and like that. He just gets jacked like that. So yes, there's a bit of a controversy because you do end up following these people because obviously they have to make money outside of bodybuilding competitions, so they end up being fitness influencers and talking about their weight, their lifts, their everything that they do. And then they're like, oh, I really love this whey protein right here. It got me so jacked like this. And so then there's just like
I take this whey protein and then suddenly my lats blew up out of my armpits.
Right. Yeah. So like there's a bit of like it's tough. There's a fine line that they have to like obviously walk when it comes to like promoting it, but then like also
I'm sure they all do
to,
that flawlessly.
Yeah, right. Then people need to also use common sense to realize, hey, if this guy's lats will not allow him to put his arms by his side, that probably means he's on steroids.
Yeah, and maybe not. Yeah, if I have to get a concave deodorant, I might have gone too far.
I agree, Ice Pyro. By the way,
nearly speechless.
Yeah,
I can't be entirely speechless because I can say the magic words that end this show, but
that's true. Sorry,
really baffling stuff. No, I'm glad we did this, and I'm glad we did it well beyond the hour mark in this show, so no one can complain that they didn't get their dang money's worth about the Chiefs and the Lions. That game now feels like a lifetime ago because I'm a different person than I was when this show began, but I'm a more educated person, and hopefully that will continue. You know what? We're going to keep building this body on Friday's show.
There you go.
We'll look ahead to Chiefs Raiders. It's Raider Week, by the way. Happy Raider Week, everybody. The first Raider Week of 2025. Huge. And they got a new head coach and a new quarterback, but I don't know if you've noticed, it's not working because if you lose to the Raiders, you get fired now. So shout out to Brian Callahan. I bet that golden parachute is going to get you down like a Red Bull challenge. You're going to be just fine. Enjoy the buyout. May everyone, shout out to James Franklin too. May everyone be so briefly good at their jobs and then so bad at their jobs that they get paid millions of dollars to go away. With that kind of money, I could get into bodybuilding. That'll do it for us today. For Tucker, I'm Joshua Brisco. We'll talk to you on Friday. Till then, bye, Mom. I guess we could go back live again if people want to see more pictures of bodybuilding.
I still have the picture. I could throw it up.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, go ahead, pop it up there just for a second.
Yeah, just real quick.
Just real quick.
There you go.
Look at those beefy boys.
Beefed up boys.
I don't know how they walk, man. That's crazy. Oh, Tucker. Stephen Holman in the chat. Tucker's next ad read is just Tucker doing bodybuilding poses. That is canon. That has to happen. If it doesn't happen, you're letting all of us down, Tucker. Don't let us down.